My name is Ian and welcome to Planted. I'm on a mission to help you have more successful plants. In this episode, I share with you the tasks I've completed in the planted courtyard in mid-May. There's a huge amount of growth happening right now, lots of plants are exploding, and making them happy now will give you great colour in June, July, August and September. I don't use a lot of mulch in my garden. I like to see what's going to grow naturally. And here you can see some little seedlings of maple. This is Acer palmatum. It's very common for this to happen. So any reference to a seedling maple, it's not that special. And this is the culprit. They come from my neighbour over the road. I'll happily dig them up. Here's a clematis, and here's the clematis seedling. Not unusual for the leaf pattern to look a little bit different, but that clematis will at some point come out. Here's the biggest, baddest dandelion that I've been trying to get rid of for a long time. What hampers me is that there's a lot of beech roots in this area, so I don't want to be too aggressive. What happens is there's a fragment remain every year, just enough for it to come back the following year. Maybe this is the year that it goes. Now, some people really enjoy tulips. They're a harbinger of spring and the day length is increasing. I frankly have no time for them. I don't dislike them, but I'm not ever going to be forever replanting. So I think you don't get enough return for the 10 days of colour for the rest of the year. So take those out, dig it over, and we'll get something else in there. My problem here is that I've only got about 8 inches of soil. It's a big concrete plate, so I'm somewhat limited as to what I can plant there. One of my earlier videos featured Wisteria, and it's proved quite popular with lots of comments. So I thought I would expand on that and do a revisit to Wisteria this year. So here we are in mid-May, and I'm pruning a Wisteria, and that goes completely against the grain that you should never prune a Wisteria with flower buds. Well, as you can see, no flower buds right here, so I'm not missing anything. But what I'm doing is removing all those little nubby shoots that got pruned back last year, and then the winter made them die back even further. And it gives me time to get in there and uncover my main stems. And if you do this pruning now, you'll find that your future growth will be much more manageable. I want sunlight to get in there, and I want to be able to have those branches ripen with that sunlight, which will help promote flowering next year. So lots of different techniques for growing wisteria. Good pruning at any time of the year is better than bad pruning occasionally. I just like to know what's alive. And I will say this, that when you prune, it's very much an art form. I often leave a branch thinking I might keep it, only to go back later and remove it because it's out of balance. So don't look for perfection. Get out there and get that wisteria under control. And when the flowers come, you'll be very, very happy. Last year I took the time to dig a trench and put in 2 watering spigots in my garden. And what this allows me to do, and my garden's tiny, but it allows me to have easy access to water without a huge coil of hose snaking across the garden. It's a bit of effort, but well worth it. Here's the peony having rocketed with lots of flower buds on it. And over here, this is the albitza. This is beautiful burgundy cutleaf foliage. And I did not prune it back last winter, and I'm pleased to say that it kept its live shoot tips all the way through the winter. So now I know that it's on the hardier side and will do very well. This is a plant called Erythrina, and it has beautiful red tropical flowers, and I'm going to grow that through that fence. I think that fence might need a bit of repair at some point. It's looking a bit tired. This plant was put in its container recently. This is the Cochleocanthus, or the Vigna caracalla. Very popular. Lots of my friends want to grow this. And I deliberately planted it out to show you what happens. Rather than telling you, I wanted to be able to demonstrate to you. Now, when plants come out of a greenhouse from a nursery or a garden center, they are high on nutrients, ideal growing conditions. When we put it outside, what happens is it gets scorched. This is the intense sunlight is too much for the plant, and those leaves just can't take it. So be patient. Put your plant out in shade, get it acclimated, get it able to survive in these conditions, and then you add some chilled nights and the plant gets distressed and it looks a little bit tired. It's not dead, it will absolutely come back. So all I can say is, Jen and Katrina, your plants will do fine, just be patient. This is Escultia, the Californian poppy, and these are all self-set from last year. This piece of ground was deliberately left undisturbed, and you can see we've got a little cluster of viable seeds that have done beautifully well. But what I like about it is that you've got a few on either side. So I'm going to leave that intact, and that should give me a nice big chunk of colour. This is the wonderful Alstroemeria that came through the winter. That will need to have some support put around it very soon because it will grow quickly. Growing figs since 2015 and trial and error, you sometimes have success and sometimes you don't. This is the fig Olympia, and it was cut back to this point the previous winter, not this winter just gone, but the previous winter. And what I would typically do is cut it back right about here, let it grow a foot, and then it would be cut back to about 8 inches. But this year I left it, and we had quite a cold winter, but what has been set on last year's wood is this very substantial Breber crop. And I've counted the number of fruits. There's best part of 90 individual fruits, all very happy and healthy. I think that being on a west wall helps, so we'll, fingers crossed, have lots of these set and ripen, and we'll have a fig party. So worth knowing about. Here's a little sneak peek of something rather special. My Wisteria, which is apparently black dragon that has never flowered, decided to set buds. And hopefully this is a true black dragon. I have my doubts, but we will see. But these flowers should reach 2 feet long. So a few years ago, I planted potato pink fir apple, and I dug them up, or at least I thought I did, but obviously there's a few left that come back every year. Thank you for watching The Planted Courtyard with Ian Cook. Tell your friends, tell your family, happy planting!